meaty questions. And looking back on your most recent time in prison at SeaTac, what did you take away from it, or what was the greatest gift that you feel you received from that time in prison?
Well, I think for my last 3 months of incarceration, I think the last 30 days was the gift, was the greatest gift I received. Is I had gone to, they gave me a halfway house, which I had after, reluctantly I kind of took it. I was a little bit hesitant to give up my place there in the regular unit, but then I, because of what happened to Lynn Greenwald, she had been given a chance at a halfway house, and then no sooner got there, they took her back to prison, and so I didn't want any shenanigans or any of their false hopes. So anyway, I got there to the halfway house, and then that evening we had Gilberto and Senji and Peter and the Peace Walkers came by, and they were drumming outside as a mark of solidarity, and I didn't know they were coming. I asked the manager if I could look outside and see them. He said no, so I looked out the window and I saw them, and I was delighted to see them. They were like angels coming to rescue me, or they were like angels visiting, and so I blew kisses to them, and that was it. And then they left and went to bed, and the next morning the marshals come into the office, or into my bedroom, take me out, and I said, "What are you doing? Why?" And they cuffed me, and they said, "You'll find out." Well, I'd like to know why. Why are you doing this? And he says, "You'll find out downtown." So they took me down to the federal building. On the way out, we passed the assistant manager, and she says, "We're not responsible for this." And I said, "Well, who is, or why is this happening?" She sort of shrugged her shoulders, and then. So by the time I got out, I was 6 hours downtown in the federal building in Tacoma, and then they took me to the prison. And by that time, I thought, I'm not going to go along with this anymore, cooperate. And so I said that to them. I'm not going to cooperate with this, So, I had to change my clothes to the prison garb, which I refused to do. They had to do all that. Of course, that didn't set too well with them. The lieutenant wanted to know, says, "Why are you doing this?" And I told her it's because of conscience. She said, "This has nothing to do with conscience, this is policy." I said, "Well, you said it, exactly why I'm doing this. I don't want to have anything to do with policy that excludes conscience from it, And so, anyway, so I was put in solitary lockdown, and then I decided to go on the fast, so I went on a 15-day fast, but I never felt freer, It was just a real gift that I just felt very supported in doing that. I felt the grace of God. I felt the support of the people in the community during those 15 days of the fast. So it was a great, if you want, retreat. It was just a time of prayer and fasting, and it was wonderful. It was a time of great sense of freedom that I had there. So I cherish that. I'm very thankful that the people who came by that night at the halfway house, that they were drumming, that they were at least the occasion of this quote, this my being returned to the prison. O Felix vol culpa, as they say. But anyway, the last 30 days, I felt a real sense of freedom, just a real sense of God's freedom, I think, on it. That was there. And I know it's a gift, it's not anything that I can but as long as it's there, I hope to walk in it, and just hope to walk by that gift that has been there. And So, and that's part of the message, you know, that we don't have to live with weapons. We don't have to live with the instruments of death. You know, God is a God of life. He calls us to life, calls us to give life to one another, and so that whenever way we can resist those forces of death and evil around us, you know, I think we're called to do that, and to trust that God is going to be with us on that. We're not alone doing that. When we say, "Where's God?" we've got to say, "Where are we?" in listening to that. Where are we taking those steps? As Sister Jackie Hudson always said, you know, we're really, faith is a venture. It's a step out of our comfort zone, you know. And so I think it's really, it's up to us. If we want a peaceful world, we want a world in which children can grow up without the sense of being slaughtered or being annihilated. If they can grow up with the full potential of who they are throughout the world, all people, then we have to take those steps in peace. And we have to do that together. But that was a great, anyway, I'm thankful for that prison experience there. That of the many different prison experiences, that was probably the most beneficial.